Hello and welcome to SatTV Week, the news programme for the international satellite industry. In this week's programme, Georgina has the latest news, Richard Hooper talks to Rupert Owen, Project Director for Communicasia, and Tricia looks at the latest launch news. But first, Euroconsult expects prospects for the satellite industry to remain favourable over the decade in a variety of areas. The next 10 years should see continued growth for commercial markets, while at the same time stagnating growth for government spending should be expected, at least through mid-decade. According to Euroconsult's Satellite Communications and Broadcasting Markets Survey, the satellite bandwidth used for traditional FSS services will be worth almost $15 billion in 2020. Pacom Revillon, CEO at Euroconsult, told SatTV that while we have seen slowing growth rates and leased capacity, FSS operators' revenue growth has continued to outperform the global economy, and operating margins remain high for most operators. In the near term, the difficult economic environment could weigh on the market. Still, connectivity needs and the growth of digital TV in emerging regions, combined with the launch of new generation high-throughput satellite systems, should continue to drive growth. The value of satellite capacity leasing should consequently grow at 7% over the next 10 years. Now here's Georgina with the news headlines.
European Commission Vice President Antonio Tajani has announced that the consortium led by OHB System AG and Surrey Satellite Technology will build a further 8 satellites for the European Union's Galileo satellite navigation programme under the supervision of the European Space Agency. The new contract will see SSTL continuing its role as payload prime, assembling, integrating and testing the navigation payloads in the UK, whilst OHB System, as the prime contractor, builds the 8 satellite platforms and executes the final integration of all the satellites in Germany. Skyware Global has announced the launch of its new Ka-band transceiver production line and testing facility in the Philippines. The test system was commissioned, designed and built entirely in-house by the company's RF Electronics Group. The production line consists of 7 independent test systems. Each tester combines state-of-the-art test equipment with hardware and software custom designed by Skyware Global engineers to maximise testing throughput and ensure product quality.
Last week, Richard talked to Rupert Owen, Project Director of Communicasia, about the event and how it's progressing for this year.
The Asia-Pacific region is the most dynamic region in the world with the largest population. The requirements of the industry are always expanding. At the consumer level, there's demand for the latest technology in the home. The rural footprint of the whole region is always difficult to reach out to, and investment needs to be made by governments to make sure everybody has the opportunity to tap into the latest technologies. In addition to that, as a region, there are many geographical spots which are hard to reach. There are many government, defence, offshore oil and related business sectors which need attending to. And the economies of Asia demand that the technologies keep up with events.
Now, previously at the old centre, you used to have the Broadcast Asia Hall very close to the other halls. That's not the case anymore. So what about the companies who are split between broadcast and datacoms?
Companies do have a tough choice as to which exhibition they need to be physically at. On the other hand, there is a 20% overlap of visitorship between the two shows. Last year, with the new centre, we had a few technical issues we resolved quickly in the beginning of the show to make sure that visitors could take the 10-minute journey between the two centres. And this time the flow will be much better. We have also moved some of the companies around within the shows to make sure that those who wish to reach an audience from both the broadcasting community and the traditional telecoms community will be able to make it easy to find each other.
How important is the satellite section to communication? Because it has grown over the last 5 years, and is it still continuing to grow?
The satellite section is paramount to communication. It's always been the foundation of the show. It's always been a meeting place for the industry in Asia in June. We like to maintain that this consistency enables people to know where they can be, where they can meet people. And as Asia grows and its ambitions grow outside the Asian region into Africa, Middle East, we see more and more of communication becoming a global meeting place for the satellite industry.
Rupert, thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard.
Now here's Tricia with the launch news. ILS has announced the new launch date for the SES-4, the largest satellite in the SES fleet, is February the 15th. The satellite will be lofted by an ILS Proton Breeze M rocket from the Baikonur Cosmodrome. Originally planned for a January the 27th launch, the 20 kilowatt satellite with 52 C-band and 72 Ku-band transponders will be positioned at 338 degrees east, replacing NSS-7. According to local press reports, Russia could spend up to $12 billion on its GLONASS satellite navigation systems in the next 8 years. Roscosmos and the Economics Ministry have agreed on a draft development programme for the project, which has already been submitted for government approval. Currently, there are 31 GLONASS satellites in orbit, with 24 operating to provide global coverage, 4 in reserve and 1 undergoing trials. By 2020, Russia plans to have 30 satellites in orbit, including 6 in reserve. The new launches will include 22 new generation GLONASS K spacecraft to replace outdated spacecraft. AsiaSat has signed an agreement to launch AsiaSat 6 and AsiaSat 8 using SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket in 2014 from SpaceX's launch complex at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida. The 2 new satellites will expand AsiaSat's fleet from 4 to 6 satellites. AsiaSat 6 will have 28 high-powered C-band transponders, while AsiaSat 8 will have 24 Ku-band transponders and a Ka-band beam. The 2 SSL 1300 satellites will serve Asia, the Middle East and Australasia. That's all for this week. Thanks for watching.